Hi, this is Chris Ward, CTO of LogicsOne. I wanted to spend a few minutes today and talk about some of the interesting things that I think and that GreenPages and LogicsOne believes are interesting emerging technologies in the marketplace. I really see three primary areas where infrastructure technologies are really coming into, or new technologies are coming into fruition. I think number one is the traditional customer-owned data center and really revamping that infrastructure, even internally within LogicsOne. We're up for a refresh of our own gear next year, so we're taking a hard look at what are we going to do from a refresh standpoint, what are we going to keep in-house, what types of applications, what systems might be more suitable to move out to a cloud environment, whether it be a SaaS-based platform or infrastructure as a service, et cetera. And also another key area that we're really looking at, not only internally but with our customers, is the area of mobility. Obviously, everyone's looking at bring your own device or BYOD, and mobile device management and security plays obviously a huge role in that. How are you going to access applications, especially if you move something into a cloud environment? How are the end users going to actually access the data and make it relevant to the business? So some interesting areas that we're seeing really take off over the course of the next probably 12 months or so. Certainly hyper-converged infrastructures on the traditional side are huge. So you'll have players out there like SimpliVity and Nutanix and VMware with Evo Rail. I think SimpliVity is probably, in my opinion, the most interesting player in that space because they're doing more than simply just putting storage in the compute arena. They're also adding deduplication, data optimization, replication, backup, disaster recovery, and so forth within that singular solution. So it's really, truly is pretty much a data center in a box. Obviously, doesn't fit for all use cases, but there's a good number of use cases out there that I think it's a great fit for. On the cloud front, we see a lot of traction again with customers wanting to really determine what should they move into a cloud environment, and that's where our transformational services that we recently launched really come into play. Looking at how do you rationalize your application portfolio, application dependencies. Does application A talk to application B? If so, in which way? If I want to move those out of my data center, do I have to move them together? Are they better off living in different clouds? Are they better off staying internal, et cetera? You really have to do a lot of deep analysis around those relationships to determine what is the best fit. And another area there that a lot of people don't even think of is the people and process side of that. So the technology is one piece, but at the end of the day, the technology is fairly simple. It's really more about how are you going to operationalize that, manage that application or manage that data once it's outside of your data center, or if it's disparately spread across multiple clouds or internal and external environments. You've got to, from a network perspective, on the technical side, you have to wire that up. But operationally, if something breaks, how do you troubleshoot it if it's not all in the same place? And how do you build your teams and train them up so that they can more readily be able to adapt and overcome these new challenges in the new cloud world? So very interesting things going on in transformational services. Finally, I mentioned briefly the mobility front, but security and access are obviously huge in that arena. So we're seeing a lot of use cases now for really segmenting your mobile devices. So how do you handle tablets, phones, laptops, and even to some degree desktops? We're seeing a lot of the traditional players in the space, both VMware and Citrix, for example, their mobile management tools are actually now kind of going more downstream and being able to provide similar management capabilities to traditional laptops and even desktops, whether they be Macs or Windows-based, et cetera. Segmenting, taking a phone, for example, and kind of cutting it in half and having a business side of the phone and a personal side of the phone. Really comes into BYOD, right? So if you want to have a BYOD policy, that's great. But you can't really have a traditional mobile device management application, because if you as an IT own the entire device, then all of a sudden it's not the user's device anymore, it's IT's. So even though the user may be paying for it or you may be giving a stipend, you're not really getting around anything and not truly having a BYOD sort of experience for the end users. So by having that split personality on the device, the end user can have whatever they want. They can have Facebook, they can have Uber, they can have Waze, whatever they want to use from a personal standpoint, games and so forth. But on the other side of the phone, right, the other half of the phone, you can have that be for business-only applications. You can lock that down, essentially have a firewall between those two personalities, ensure that data doesn't traverse, cross that chasm from one side to the other. If the employee is terminated or leaves on their own or whatever the case may be, just is no longer with the company, you can send out a simple wipe command to wipe the business side of the phone, but leave the personal side of the phone completely untouched and unaffected, right? So you really bring that true BYOD experience to the end user. So those are just a few things that we're covering right now and we're very interested in. I'd love to have deeper conversations with you about it as well. So if you're interested in any of these topics, definitely give us a call and we'll be happy to discuss in more in depth.